Today we welcome Elena Iatarola, a respected leader who helps keep our community safe. We're in for a meetings program today, so buckle up. And leading the national anthem, we have Janet Metzler and past President Steve King.
All right, sing it, Janet. Here we go.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Invocation, we have Pops Miller.
Thank you, President Lisa. Let us pray. Creator and sustainer of all that is or ever will be, accept our thanks for this day and all its blessings. We ask that you guide and direct our flow as leaders in our actions. Grant that each of us may feel our responsibility to Rotary, to our community, to our country, and indeed to all countries and peoples. Bless our fellowship today, and bless this food to the nourishment of our bodies in your service. Bless the leaders of our land, that we may be a people at peace among ourselves and a blessing to other nations of the earth. Amen.
Amen.
And now let us the four-way test of the things we think, say, and do.
Is it truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
Sergeant Arms, we have Kelly starting with the prospect list, all from my so let's just go there. I know. Our king of membership. So thank you all for being here, all of our prospects. Angela Smedwick, Ashley Simon, Carly Robinette, and Constance Reneman, Dr. Andia Crabtree, Eric Owsley, Justin Kelly, Dan Catt, Paul Mayer. Congratulations for being here on Prospect. Yeah, everybody give a wave so we can see the flag. Oh, yeah, say hi. Wonderful. Also, we have Chris DeSantis, who's a guest with Just Kids. All right. We have Jalise White, who's a guest of Brad Green. Ron Kashmira, who is a guest of Hux Miller. We have Matt Kittle and Logan Sample, who are guests of Steve King from the Santa Public Foundation. We have Rob Martin, who's a guest of Steve Ruffles. We have Pierce, who is retired PG, is a guest of Bob Iatarola. We also have Bobby McElroy, who is Bella's son. We have Julie Miles, who also is a guest of Michael Schatzman. We have congratulations to Constant Bennett and Justin Kelly, who have submitted their applications for membership. So we also have 3 prospects, 40 under 40, joining West Fargo and Indianapolis as prospective members. Emily North, Dr. Crabtree, and Nick Roman. Congratulations, and I hope everybody considers joining the very best Rotary Club in the world, Club 17. Enjoy your day.
Wow, that is so exciting. Guests, once again, raise your hands so we can all see who you are. We hope that you have the opportunity before you leave today to network and let us know who you want to meet, who you want to talk to, and I bet people in this room can get you there. So welcome, it's so good to have you today. So our meeting sponsor, we have Bob Fiegner.
Thank you, President Lisa, and it's a pleasure to be with you all. I received a phone call late last night. Papa Coach, that's my name, my grandson's called. Papa Coach, I've been arrested for DUI. Please wire $10,000 tomorrow morning to get me out of jail. I said, how is this possible? You're only 10 years old. So this is an apocryphal story, but it's not apocryphal how prevalent it is that we all are hit upon to basically dislodge our money or our passwords or our wallets or whatever it is to the thugs. The thugs are using AI in a very, very thoughtful, creative way that is unfortunate. So I brought a handout. I'm trying to help everybody here avoid being scammed from this point forward. And so this is a very important task, and I hope that those of you who do not have the handout will pick it up and go through it and basically be informed. On a happier note, I have written a new book. It's called Why Make Heaven Wait. It's about really finding heaven on earth. It's about living life joyfully in the here and now. And it's really my best effort to be optimistic and forward-looking as I enter the 4th quarter of my life. So I hope that you all will ask me for a book, because the book is with the printer. It's going to be out soon. I'm happy to make it available to everyone who asks on a free basis. Thank you very much.
I am very excited, without further ado, to welcome 3 new members. Are all 3 here, Michael? Or do we have 2? Cecilia. We have Cecilia Mainzer. Andy's on. Just the 2 incredibly new members.
Cincinnati and started an exciting new role as a business development manager for Arco National Construction. However, 2025 is off to an already crazy exciting start. Cecilia married her husband Patrick this past February, joined the Northern Kentucky Emerging Leaders Board of Directors, and perhaps most importantly, became a proud new member of the Rotary Club of Cincinnati. Cecilia grew up in Hinckley, Ohio, home of the Buzzards. And After a year of calling Cincinnati home, she's already making her mark here through her enthusiasm for community engagement and connection. When she's not working or volunteering, you can find her hiking, practicing yoga, solving puzzles, or even square dancing. Let's give a warm Rotary Club of Cincinnati welcome to Cecilia. Rose between two thorns. I'm sorry, a thorn and two roses.
I really should have tipped somebody to go first and not have to follow my rules. It's my pleasure to introduce another one of our newest Rotarians, Michelle Landers. Michelle joined the staff of the Danbury Council Scout in America last September as our new Vice President of Development. We were able to get her with over 20 years of fundraising experience. She came to us most recently from Daily Life, and prior to that, Summit Country Day School. Originally from Syracuse, New York, Michelle made her way to Cincinnati 18 years ago with a couple stops in between. She spent some time in Lexington, Kentucky, and then Charleston, South Carolina. Michelle and her husband, Kevin, have 2 kids. They live down in northern Kentucky. Please join me in a warm Rotary welcome to Michelle.
But essentially it's a mix of football and bowling. So you throw things at bowling pins. What would be fun about that? They do serve drinks. It is going to be a casual networking event, so please feel free to invite guests. It's a great way to learn about Rotary for anyone who is new. We hope to see you all there. You can register at ActiveBeat, again, August 27th, 5:30 at Fowling Warehouse. I'm a horrible bowler, and I'm even worse at throwing the football. So if I should choose to come, just stay clear, because I might injure a few of our fellow Rotarians. With announcements, I want to make sure everybody knows that Jenna Martini of ARCO National Construction will be with us next week. For committees, we have our kickoff committee of our Marketing and Communications Growth Committee. That's a lot of words, so we're going to call it the Growth Committee. That's going to meet in the Highland Room today after our meeting. Oh, are we excited? Birthdays. Your very own is celebrating a birthday this month, coming August 2nd. We have Jim Young with us, August 4th. Chandler Lyles, August 4th. We have some Leos in the room. Mark Sapine, John Pepper, and Patsy, is it Bob? Vaughn. Could not be with us today, but they are also celebrating birthdays. So, Jim, Chandler, stand up, my fellow birthday buddies. And a count of 3, we are going to say happy birthday. 1, 2, 3. Happy birthday! For those that may that away from me. I'll do anything you tell me to do any other time, but do not take away my Rotary sweet. So this means so much. Thank you very much. I will not share that. All right. Different types of cookies. Oh, you just rock my world. Thank you. All right, so split the pot. The way I look at split the pot, you are participating in growing the health of our club. That is for both our members as well as new members. So those that are participating, make sure you get your tickets out now. The process with the pot, the 25% of the pot goes to the winner, and that is $55. We have 25% of the pot going to the accumulated bigger pot that's now $630. And for those that may not know, if you are a member and you draw the Queen of Hearts, you are the winner. All right, so we're Sarah, look at my tickets. All right. 3, 4, 5, 9, 6, 9. 3, 4, 5, 9, 6, 9. I'm told you should check all of your tickets. All right, without further ado, I would like to bring Michael Shaxton up to the podium to introduce our program for today.
Thank you, President Lisa. So, it's my pleasure to introduce today's speaker, Elena Iatarola, Special Agent in charge of the FBI's Cincinnati Field Office since she took over in March of 2024. She oversees all FBI operations in the Southern District of Ohio, including criminal, national security, and cyber programs. Elena joined the FBI in 1997 and has served in key leadership roles from across the country, from Texas, Las Vegas, to Denver, and FBI headquarters in Washington, D.C. Her experience spans violent crime, terrorism, human trafficking, and high-level security operations. She was also the on-scene commander during the tragic 2021 mass shooting in Boulder, Colorado. Before her FBI career, Elena was a police officer and holds multiple degrees in criminal justice and public safety. Please join me in welcoming the most special agent in charge, Elena Iatarola.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. I really want to thank the Rotary Club. And by the way, Michael Chapman, he's not friendly or outgoing at all, is he? He found me on LinkedIn and was very kind to invite me here today. And first I had to vet it out and make sure he was. So he said he was. He passed the test. He passed the test. But anyway, I did want to just point out, I know my team members were mentioned before, but the reason I want to show you the roles, so in case when you ask questions later, I might bring them into it, and you just wait. So Lisa Bustamante is my administrative officer. She's been in the FBI longer than me. I've been in 28 years, and I think 33, 34 for Lisa. She's been running basically everything that happens in our office happens because of Lisa, so thank you, Lisa. Jessica Certain Maxwell, she is my community outreach specialist, and that's why I wanted her to come today. So she runs our Citizens Academy and many programs. We have teen academies and collegiate academies, and she does amazing outreach efforts in many different ways for us. So I just wanted her to be here as well. And then Morgan Spurlock, he's our supervisory specialist. He is my acting ASAC over cyber and intel. So anyway, that's who we are. I get asked a lot of the same questions, and those are really kind of help me define the topics I was going to talk about today. I'm frequently asked, well, how did you become an agent, and how did you become a supervisor, and things of that nature. So I'm going to address that a little bit. I get asked highlights about my career. And it was funny, as I was writing down, I thought I'm going to talk a little bit about some cases. And I realized they weren't necessarily so much my highlights of my career as much as cases that really impact me. So I'm going to talk about that a little bit. And then, of course, what's going on in Cincinnati, right? So we're going to talk about, what we do as the FBI in Cincinnati. We can talk about what other things about Cincinnati, but I'm going to basically go through the topics for today. And then I'm going to try to make sure I do all that in 30 minutes so there's time for questions and answers. But just so you know, I'm a kid of the 70s. I grew up in Indiana, so don't hold that against me, Buckeyes. No law enforcement was in my family, but I was very fortunate to have supportive parents who told me I could do anything I wanted to do as long as I worked hard enough and believed in it. My mother sat down, this is like 1977, around there, she sat down an article at the breakfast table next to my cereal bowl, and it was about the first female astronaut. And she said, look, women can do anything they want to do. And that just stayed with me. Except I was a kid in the 70s. I watched Charlie's Angels. I watched Quincy. I read all the Nancy Drew books. So guess what? I wanted to solve mysteries. I wanted to investigate crime. So that's where I set my sight at a very early age and kind of kept the path. I went to Indiana University. They had an investigative intern. Yay! I did not go to the school of business school, Kelly. I got a criminology degree because I was pursuing that. But I had an investigation internship. But the only way you could do that at Indiana University is if you went through their police academy and became a campus cop. Well, I wanted to do the investigation internship, so I went through the academy, became a cop, did the internship, and it was very insightful, and it kind of helped me know that this is the path I wanted to go down. A lot of my peers ended up graduating and stayed in Indiana. The cops there made as much as the Applebee waitresses, and then I had a cousin in Las Vegas, and she said, hey, listen, Vegas is hiring, Henderson, North Las Vegas, so I bought a one-way ticket. I didn't look back because I was going to get hired as a cop, and I did at the Henderson Police Department, and I worked on my master's in UNLV, criminology there, public safety, and they paid for it, but they paid the city of Henderson, but in the back of my head, I knew I was interested in FBI or federal law enforcement, but those years as I was a police officer, they were absolutely fundamental to help me be what I am today. A lot of different backgrounds and careers help special agents when they become special agents. For me, it helped me assess situations quickly, be able to talk to people, be able to, I wasn't going to use my brawn on the streets. So I had to use my brains and really de-escalate situations and see what I had. So all that helped. We had an FBI, I sat through an FBI instructor development course, and the FBI agent next to me said, you're qualified to be an agent. And he brought in a application for me, and I filled it out, and I got real excited, and nothing happened. And then I got promoted at the PD, and I was working undercover. I won't tell you my undercover name, but I was an undercover agent for a while and did narcotics and vice operations. And then I got a call one day, and she said, hey, my name's Georgia Kinkella. I'm the recruiter at the FBI in Las Vegas, and the fellow before me retired, and I found your application in a drawer. I thought, thank God you didn't shred me on the way out. So she said, you're qualified. Come on in, take the test. So I did all this stuff. I took the test, I did the interview, and lo and behold, I get hired. The next thing I know, I'm at Quantico. I watched Silence of the Lambs to prepare me for a while, and I did a lot of running and sit-ups and push-ups and all those things too. But I get there, and very quickly into it, they have selection night, and they tell you where you're going to go. And prior to that, you have to list, 1 through 56 where you wanted to go. And at that time, my sister was in California. I just left Las Vegas, so I did list like LA, San Diego, San Francisco. I was pretty sure I was 20, I was young, I didn't know what I was doing, so that's what I listed. I was pretty sure I might get one of those places. They were big offices. They were always trying to get them filled. And then that night came, and they stood up and they go, Elena Iatarola, you're going to El Paso. And I thought, oh my God, they think I speak Spanish. And the other guy, Jose Guillen, who did get El Paso with me, he did speak Spanish. But anyway, Jose and I went down to El Paso, and I met an agent and fell in love, and he followed me there too. So we ended up getting married consequently. There's a little reason like that. That's important, but you know, I work drug trafficking, but I'm going to get into those impactful cases that kind of stay with you. And so I just wanted, there's so many I can tell you, but I wanted, you know, I only have so much time, but went to El Paso, and I was working drug trafficking. You know, they were crossing the border and violent crime. And I raised my hand to be on the evidence response team, and that's the FBI's version of CSI, which everybody knows what that is, right? Because that goes back to my Quincy fascination. I wanted to do forensics, right? So joined that evidence response team, and we were very busy. We had a lot of call-outs, but we got some tips that there was some Americans buried across the border, you know, had gotten themselves either entangled somehow with the cartels or things of that nature. So they actually worked out, the FBI in DC worked out an arrangement with the Mexican authorities for us to go down and see if we could locate these bodies. So I call it the Big Dig. That's what we all call it, the Big Dig. So we went down and we did locate 11 American citizens that had been killed and were buried down there at 3 different locations. And what I learned from that, a lot of what I learned from that, well, how important cooperation is across those you know, countries, so we can actually, you know, do the justice and bring back our folks and hopefully make sure justice prevails even across the border. But I learned it's very difficult to find a buried body unless you know where the buried body is. So we employed a lot of different techniques. We brought out cadaver dogs, we brought out specialized equipment to look through the ground and, you know, look for anomalies. And we did a lot of different things to try to locate the body. At the end of the day, we got better source information of where those bodies were, like potentially somebody who had been present when those bodies were shot and killed and buried, or just buried, and we were able to locate 11 of them and bring them back. And that was impactful and it stayed with me. I had a little girl shortly thereafter, and I put my name on the list to go back up to where I'm from originally in Indiana, near Gary, Indiana. My mom said, "Get up here, I'll watch her," so that's what happened. And off we went up to Gary, because guess what? Nobody wanted to go to Gary. I can't. We were in an offsite. I was downtown Gary. I was in the offsite of a resident, of an RA out of Indianapolis Field Office. And we worked, guess what, gangs, violent crime, drug trafficking networks primarily. I did a little stint when I was part of the child number 2 on the counterterrorism. It was my first stint in counterterrorism. But then I went back and supervised a while our Sage Streets Task Force, which is the gangs and the drugs and the violent crime. And, you know, fast forward, so my younger one's about 3, 4 years old, my older one's 8, 9. I was there almost 9 years, and I got a call one day from one of my task force officers. Now, mind you, I had worked for an amazing supervisor, FBI supervisor. We were having a discussion one day what we thought made a really great FBI agent, and he shared with me his litmus that quickly kind of became my litmus. He goes, "Who would you want on your own team if your own child was kidnapped?" And then that really kind of sets a high level, right? I mean, all of our agents and employees work really hard, do a great job, but who would you want on your team? And then you kind of, in your own head, you kind of put that team together, right? So I got the call, this fast forward, I got this call from, he'd been a task force officer, and he said, "Elena, we got a problem. There was a little girl, she'd been reported kidnapped, 2.5. He goes, "I'm not sure if she's been kidnapped or she's been killed by the people who are reporting it." And there was kind of jurisdictional issues between Gary and the neighboring city. So we get involved. And we opened a child abduction case. But then I quickly find out that her cousin, her second cousin, who'd been watching her and her boyfriend, they were also drug trafficking. And they were very young. They were like 19 and 21. They were young. But they were also watching the 2.5-year-old. And her name was Jada Justice. Now, I can tell you that name. If you want to Google what you can find on the internet later, please feel free to do so. This was back in, this has been many, many years ago now, 2009. So I opened a parallel drug investigation because, you know, you can do certain techniques when you're looking for a child, and we did them all, and we did them hard, and you can do certain techniques when you have a drug trafficking investigation. So I was putting a lot of pressure. My thought process, we're going to keep the pressure on these two. While we're looking for Jada and doing everything we can do, we're going to keep the pressure on these two. And we were doing search warrants at their houses, at their stash house, you know, talking to everybody that they dealt with, all their family members. And finally, we were able to separate the two, and they did not want to talk to us. And the male, we were able to bring him in, and we had a great photographer, and he did admit that, well, of course, he said she killed the baby. But it was, by this time, it was very late at night. And he did tell us what they had done to dispose of the body, and it was way out, 45 minutes, like not that far, but like out in the woods in the creek. And by this time, about 2 a.m., and they were like, well, we'll get him to take us out. We'll take him out there tomorrow, give him a show us. I go, no, we're going to go right now. I didn't want to have him go sit in jail for a couple hours and start thinking different. I wanted to, it was like, what did I learn? I learned the person that knows where the body's buried is the best person to tell you and show you where that body is. So we did go out that night, and we were able to keep that scene safe. He showed us exactly where, he explained it all, and he drawn the map, and then he took us and he showed us. I think it would have been very, very difficult to find her without him taking us out there, because it was remote and it was, you know, it was very difficult, and terrain can change and things like that. So we were able to recover her, and I went home after 10 days of this investigation, and my little girl, my little 4-year-old girl, she says, Mommy, where have you been? You haven't been out for days. I said, honey, I've been out finding the little girl that was lost. I said, and I would hope if you were lost, I would be looking for you just as hard. And then that satisfied her, and then, you know, we moved on. So that's a very impactful story and case that's always stayed with me. And consequently, the male, he ended up pleading guilty and got 40 years. The female went to trial. She was found guilty, and she got a life sentence, which she is still serving in Indiana. So then you fast forward, and it's like, so it's end of 2009, and the FBI has a VRT program and multi-rotational program. They listed, hey, Las Vegas is looking for senior agents across the board, and my husband and I decided we were going to move back out to Las Vegas. We took our 2 little girls and moved back. I have a big cousins, a big family network. If you didn't know, my last name is actually Italian, and family means a lot, and I like to live near and around family, so I have a big, you know, contingency of family out in Las Vegas as well as Northwest Indiana. In Las Vegas, I was really fortunate. That's when I promoted again and to frontline supervisor, and I led a lot of different teams. And guess what? There's a lot happening in Las Vegas all the time. And, you know, once again, violent crime, gangs, drugs. I did violent crimes against children. I oversaw those programs. I was a frontline supervisor for the entire 7 years of the FBI election E1. I can still go out and assist with arrests. I can still go out and search warrants. I can still stay really involved, and I love that. So, and then I did a stint on the Joint Terrorism Task Force. So, there's so many stories. You ever wanted me to do a Vegas segment, that'd be a completely different segment. But one impactful, I love the fugitive team. So the fugitive team, and we had a very active fugitive team because there's a lot of homicides that occur in Las Vegas, but there's a lot of people who come and think they can hide there. And I mean, that's kind of a logical thought, right? You know, hey, I'm going to go to Vegas, I'm going to blend in, it's real transient. But guess what? I had the most amazing fugitive team in anywhere, if you ask me. And as soon as they hit the city, as soon as we got wind that they were coming from a different jurisdiction, we were on them. And we got, and And we did 1 to 3 homicide arrests a week, and then there was even discussion, should the FBI be doing this, should we be involved in this? But I was able to show all the statistics of the impact we made, not just in Las Vegas, but all the truly violent criminals that were coming to Las Vegas, and then our community to go get. So that was to me pretty darn impactful. If you want to promote, and then I told you 7 years, that's all it looks to be a frontline supervisor. And if you want to promote, you got to go to headquarters. Well, I'm a field girl, so I was like, well, what can I do at headquarters to be my shortest amount of time at headquarters so I can get back out to the field and do the real job, do the cases. That's how I thought, right? You do learn a lot at headquarters. At headquarters is a valuable experience, but that was my mindset. And so instead of 18 months, I found a 12-month one that you could do where you were an inspector, like a team leader of inspections, and you go out and you investigate, basically inspect offices. If there's a shooting, we inspected the shootings. And so I did that for 1 year, and I learned so much. Best practices, what you should do, what you shouldn't do. And you continue to bring that back, and you can make your own offices even better. I got promoted to Denver, and as you heard, Michael, it was COVID. COVID was a weird time, but unfortunately, towards the tail end, coming out that spring of 2021, we did have the King Super grocery store shooting, and I was, as he mentioned, the incident commander on scene. We had 2 command posts. We had the one at our own field office, where we were doing a lot of work out of our own databases, but I stayed at the Boulder Police Department and worked hand in hand with Boulder PD and Colorado State Police. The 3 of us were working the investigation so we could seamlessly do it together. And a lot of times people say, well, what are you looking at? And you got the guy, and a lot of times these perpetrators are killed, right? Unfortunately, so this mass shooting, there was 10 people who were killed during the shooting. Now, one thing I have taught my own children, and I very encourage you, if you haven't been through any sort of run, hide, fight program or presentation, is what you should be thinking and what you should be doing if there is a mass shooting, run, hide, fight. And we talked about that several times with our own family members. And, what I saw that day, he was shooting people as he was going into the grocery store. He was able to get quite a few as he was coming in. And then people, of course, people were running quickly. Some ran out the back door. Some ran and hid wherever they could, just to get out of sight. And then he was walking down the edge of the grocery store aisles, shooting down the aisles. This one poor lady froze. Unfortunately, she was killed. The other lady who was in the same aisle, she dove to the bottom row of the potato chips and managed to hide behind the potato chips. He did not see her. She lived. She even came out till much later. She stayed very quiet and hidden until she knew things were okay, which is fantastic. So, just mention as a side note, if we need to do a presentation like that for anybody, happy to have some people come in and do that. But police officer, 3 police officers arrived on scene, and first they did their formation, they did their training, they did an amazing job. They went in, except the shooter was down in the hall, like me poking my head, looking right. The shooter saw him from this way and got the officer in the head, and so he was down. His other officer right behind him was able to figure out where the perpetrator was and was able to shoot him. But he got him in the leg, and the perpetrator immediately threw down his weapon and surrendered. So he lived. So we were going to have, this investigation, we would go to trial. And sometimes that isn't always the case, but in this case, that was the case. And 10 were killed total that day. I brought in our evidence response team, and they do that entire scene, and they are able to do all the ballistics and do all the reconstruction. It's really important at trial to have all that information and evidence. But we are also, in those investigations, as either potentially the person is no longer alive or they're in custody, we have to make sure there's no co-conspirators. We have to, is this part of something larger? What is happening here? We have to make sure we understand what happened, and is there anybody else involved? Is there any other threat out there that we need to be focused on? So that is a lot with those investigations. a couple of years later, and he got a 10 times, like 10 years, not 10 years, 10 life sentences. 10 lives he took, 10 life sentences is what he received. And as one of the family members said, that this does not bring back my family member, but at least it gives me some sort of justice in this situation. And sometimes that's the best we can do, is to give family members that justice and closure. So after I left Denver, if I wanted to promote and be in this position, which I did, you have to do headquarters one more time. So I said, if I have to go to headquarters again, I'd really like to do it in Huntsville, Alabama, where we moved a big part of our headquarters. So as he mentioned, a big part of our security division moved down there, and I did that, and that was a great business experience, working the security division. As soon as Cincinnati came open, I didn't think Will Rivers was ever leave, right? I was kind of keeping my eye on Indianapolis, Cincinnati, Louisville. Cincinnati came open, and I had been here in 2019 on an inspection, and I loved the office. I loved the people. We saw the great relationships, and I thought that would be a fantastic place to work. So here I am, right? So I got promoted, and like you mentioned, about 16 months ago, this is my best last office. I am mandatory retirement 2 years, less than 2 years. So this is my best last office, and I'll do something else. I'll do something else. No, this is the good part of the job. This is the great part of the job. You get to come out and talk to community members and connect, right? So that's actually why I'm smiling so much. But so when I came to Cincinnati, like I mentioned, one of the things that was really apparent to me really quickly was how great the relationships are here. And this isn't something I just say to say it. This is something I 100% mean. So it makes such a difference in how we do business. Like, I have very seamless relationships with the other federal SECs, okay? I can tell you the CCPA, the Citizens Cincinnati Police Association, they are a big contributor to that, as well as the U.S. Attorney's Office. We have former U.S. Attorney Kim Parker here. So they brought us together once a month. Ken would also host consistent meetings. So we got to always see each other in these other environments. And when you're having a wonderful lunch and meeting wonderful people, guess what? It makes it a lot easier to work through potential problems on the ground. So we're meeting each other, we're working with each other, working with our citizens, hearing from our citizens. The police chief's there, the sheriff is there, the Hamilton County Police Association, we're a member of that, we're on the board, and we go to their monthly meetings, and we constantly share information. We see that there's a problem, we're working with them. So what do we work in Cincinnati? So just so you're aware, and we do cover the Ward 48 counties, and I always tease my SAC counterpart in Cleveland that we are definitely the better half of the state. I have a very large office up in Columbus. I have a decent-sized office in Dayton. Of course, our largest office, headquarters city, is down here in Cincinnati. And we have about 157 personnel that sit here, professional staff, analysts, about 65 agents. And we have a few more, thank you, Cash Patel, but it's going to come out and help us address crime and violent crime and some of the issues that we continue to see. So, but what else, what do we work here? So we have our 4 branches, as mentioned, and I'm going to give you a pretty quick rundown. So national security, one of our branches, we focus on counterterrorism and counterintelligence. We are the lead federal agencies in both those areas. We have the Joint Terrorism Task Force with 10 different local agencies that are involved in it. We get any whiff of a threat or any sort of information, see something, say something, hear something, actually matters. Get any of those tips, we run it down. We turn over the rocks. I don't want anything to go boom on my watch and we get to be mixed. So we are very diligent and very proactive. We've had some upticks of various cases that they've helped address. Bombing cases recently, we've not having, we've seen 3 in 6 months. I think that's odd. They agree that that's odd, but we've had that. An uptick of political violence threats over the past year on both sides of the house, targeting both sides of the house. We go over those very aggressively. We just made an arrest 2 days ago of threats security made online to one of our congressmen. We had another person that was sending white powder letters and threatening statements to many, it was over 20 of our congressmen and senators about political and trying to be disruptive, so that person's been arrested. Those are ongoing, so I can't really say too much more than that, but uptick, and we take it very seriously. We put our resources towards it, and we will get the perpetrators, and we will put them in jail. We have I mentioned counterintelligence. Well, guess what? I didn't realize coming to Cincinnati that maybe there might be a lot of interest in that area. And because there's a lot of classification, I'm just going to keep that real high level, but let's just say we have some interesting targets here between Right Pat, certain companies, certain research going on in certain universities, so foreign adversaries are really interested. So we have a counterintelligence task force, a lot of DOD involved, and a lot of people with clearances involved, and we do a lot of great work behind the scenes to keep our technology safe and harden our targets here. So that's all I'll say about that. In cyber, we are also the lead agency that does all the law enforcement investigations for federal. We do a lot of presentations. We have the InfraGard chapter. Some of you are involved in InfraGard down here. We work very closely with them for cybersecurity matters. I have also seen an uptick of ransomware and intrusions, unfortunately. So it's really important that we work very closely with you in our InfraGard chapters and meetings. We provide presentations at companies, but we frequently give InfraGard our bulletins just to keep everybody as aware as possible and try to, once again, harden their target. Prevention is key in the cyber area, and unfortunately, we get something almost every week from one of our partners. Intel, and we have a Intel component. We have quite a few analysts. They're tactical, they're strategic. We are plugged into our fusion center down here, is staffed up in Columbus, because information sharing is key, right? Thank God, this is no longer, we're going to know what we know, you know what you know. We're sharing, because it's so important that we are working together so we can go after the right targets and prevent things from happening. So we do share. Criminal. We do a lot of criminal work. Imagine that. So we are the lead for civil rights. We do, to get in front of that, we do a lot of hate crime presentations. We work very closely with agencies, Jewish Federation here in Cincinnati. We give color law presentations at the police academy to help get in front of and ward off issues. We work very closely if there is a potential hate crime nexus on a local matter. We work closely with our partners to determine if there's that federal nexus to also go after the hate crime portion of it. Unfortunately, we continue to have a lot of focus in drug trafficking networks here in Southern Ohio, and I think maybe less than 4 or 5 years ago, but there's still quite a few numbers of fentanyl overdoses and precursors and things like that are coming in. So we focus pretty heavily on those different distribution, high-level networks to try to stop it at that level. We work hand in hand with our partners who are often doing more the street level. So hopefully we're attacking it from a couple different angles. We also do some interesting things on the internet, on the dark web, that are shipping things to Southern Ohio to help facilitate drug trafficking networks, and we're going after those folks too. So we try to attack it in different ways. So we have the Safe Streets Task Force that goes after violent crimes and gangs. If there's a particular problem, we work closely with our partners to come up with a task force. For instance, and I think some of you heard about Joe Burrow's investigation not that long ago. So we'd already formed a task force. That was the South American Theft Group Task Force, because there was a lot of different homes and businesses that were being targeted by these groups. So we formed it already. We were working, we'd already had some success in some of those areas. Joe Burrows, because he's famous, obviously he had a lot of spotlight, and luckily we were able to work that very quickly. It was conducted by 3 illegal immigrants, and I'm going to bring up immigration enforcement in just a second. But the other one crime that we continue to see ongoing is violent crimes against children, a lot of it through the internet. So we focus and prioritize, because there's actually so much, we prioritize any hands-on offenders, and then producers, manufacturers, distribution networks. We have a task force for that. We do a lot of work, work very closely with our federal prosecutors to address that problem. And then complex financial crime is always this key. Thank you, Bob, for highlighting that. And this handout was actually quite good. I continue to hear a lot about elder. A lot of times they'll target younger through various, through extortion, things like that. The elder through, and my mom got did not that long ago from an AI scheme with my brother's voice, and they thought it was my brother. Very distinctive voice. So unfortunately, just about the time we get our handle on a scheme, there's a new scheme. So that's always going to be ongoing and lots of work. But we try to get out and do a lot of elder fraud presentations at various places that make sense to do that, as senior citizens and caretakers, to help ward that off for our senior citizens and help them. Because that matters. And we want to continue to try to ward that off. So I will say, the immigration piece. So, all of DOJ has been doing immigration enforcement, working together. I appreciate how it's been done here. Homeland Security enforcement, removal operations, they've been the lead. We have contributed. We have prioritized if there's criminals here conducting illegal activity and they're also out of status and not here legally. That's who we prioritize. I'm sorry, am I going over? I'm almost done. Okay, I think I got the sign like 10 more minutes. So I'll be really quick. So I do have a leadership guide map when I came here, right? And I told my folks it's not, we're already doing what we need to do. We're putting bad guys in jail, we're doing our investigations to do that, we're making sure things don't go wrong. Keep it all simple. Well, what's our roadmap to continued success? And I keep it simple. I call it 3 R's, right? 3 R's. So I'm going to keep it really quick. Rigor. Always do the right thing for the right reason. It matters. That's why our investigations are beyond reproach, and that's why we continue to do what we do. Resiliency. I think you've heard. We can see some tough things and do some tough things. Very important that our folks stay strong mentally and emotionally, so they continue to focus on the work that they do, training, preparation, and then after an incident, offering resources and making sure they take the resources to keep them strong and keep them well. And then relationships. And when I talk to my folks, relationships is number one. And I talk about that first. But because I'm going to tie it into today, right? Relationships internally, we've got to collaborate, but external partnerships. It is so important. It is key. It absolutely matters with our law enforcement partners, with our private sector partners, with the public, the community. We want to connect with you. We want to share with you. We want you to share back with us. You see something, you hear something, you have concerns about something. If there's any sort of presentation that would help any of your organizations to help you prevent, absolutely want to help do that too. So that's it. Any questions?
Errol, one question to you. Have you seen any examples of citizens doing a good job of reducing hate speech or other things that contribute to hate crimes?
Well, I will say that Crime Stoppers, they do a lot to help the entire community by always offering awards if anything is seen. Crime Stoppers is used in a lot of the high-level and high-profile cases that you guys see on the news and network, and it truly does help. We truly do solve crimes based on Crime Stoppers, and I think that's an essential tool. So, and then they even host an annual breakfast, and they recognize various people of the community who have done an outstanding job in helping lead to significant crime reduction. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so very much for today. We are donating to Rotary National and Polio Now in your honor. Thank you. So as we just learned, the presentation today leadership very much exemplifies our Rotary motto of Unite for Good. Do you agree? Efforts to build partnerships and protect the most vulnerable perfectly align with Rotary's commitment to unity and the greater good. Now, I made a mistake. I know it's hard to believe. But I forgot the announcements. And Hux, raise your hand. Hux would just not be my friend anymore if I did not mention we have the annual Rotary Bike Ride this Saturday, August 2nd at 10 a.m. Meeting at the Loveland on the bike trail in the parking lot north of Works Restaurant, and then having some lunch at Works. Thank you, good Hux. All right, some exciting things. What do I always say? Take out your phone. Take a picture of the screen. More importantly, let's make Christy and Sarah happy. Use the QR code and register for our events. On Tuesday, we have our first Women in Rotary coffee walk. And we're going to have those on a quarterly basis. So make sure, again, you take a picture of the events. I would want to make sure we give Cecilia and Michelle, a warm welcome to membership. And as we close today, let's carry forward the spirit of connection, purpose, and service that brings us together each and every day. I say a lot, make today amazing, not just for yourself, but for others. Meeting adjourned.